Because I bought a T-shirt this year that they wanted.
Did a great trip.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
It was great except the U.S. can't go.
Oh yeah, really?
That's just for Jonathan.
I didn't watch
True.
it.
It was great. Let's go, Philly. All right. JT was probably salty. No one's here that needs to be here. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. October 9th meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery Township. We're going to get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please join us. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First, I just would like to ask for a moment of silence for the unrest in the Middle East and state that we hope for peace. Thank you. We're going to try to move this along so everybody can get home and watch whatever might be left of the Phillies game tonight. And we won't be upset if we get updates. The announcements. Montgomery Township's 21st Annual Autumn Festival Community Event is this Saturday, October 14th from 12 to 5 at William F. Mall Park at Windlestray. Fireworks will follow at approximately 7 p.m. This year's events will include many of the park attractions that residents of Montgomery Township have grown to know and love, such as inflatable amusements, hay rides, pumpkin decorating, scarecrow making, helicopter landing, police canine demonstrations, face painting, pony rides, petting zoo, and police fire department displays. This year's festival will even feature a replica of Optimus Prime. Please visit mont.township.org/autumnfest for a detailed schedule of events and more information. Hope to see everybody there. We're praying for good weather. Public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? Please come up and give us your name and address.
Sure. Go Phillies too, by the way. Brian Eppinger, 106 Stump Road, right down the street here. Listen, I'm here tonight. Again, I appreciate everybody coming in with the Phillies game and all. House next to me, it's kind of like a neighbor dispute, but it really isn't. The house next to me at 108, an investor bought it about 4 or 5 years ago or so, and has had a bunch of different people in here up until about 6 months ago. And he leased it to a landscaper who's operating a full-fledged landscaping business in R2 residential zoning, which it violates at least 6 or 8 existing zoning codes. And I'm here really just to ask for help, to somebody do something and enforce this. They're written unambiguous codes that are being violated right now a mile from here. So I'm
Marianne, you have any
pleading for help.
thoughts for
She's
this?
taking notes.
So there's a couple of pronged thing here too. So he's turned the place into like a landscaper flop house. Like there's 6 or 8 different adult males living there. I'm sure that's not legal under the zoning code the way it is right now. So again, I'm part and partial to this because I'm right next door.
Right next door.
It's
So-
something we can look into as far as the business side and the outward.
Appearance of a business.
Okay.
When you get into living as a family unit, that's a whole nother aspect that's a little more difficult
Okay.
to approach. But we can definitely look at the
I just wanna make
landscaping
you aware of
business
it. I
side.
also want, again, this has nothing to do with you guys. It's probably more of a school board issue. The owner of the business doesn't reside there and drops his kid off there so his kid can get bused into North Penn District and go to school there. So I know that has nothing to do with anybody here, but again, all I'm saying is it's, there's a bunch of really shady things going on there. If somebody could do something, would be great.
Yeah, we can
So-
definitely look at the business side of it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Go Phils.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Announcement of executive session. Thank you.
Prior to tonight's meeting, there was an executive session of the Board of Supervisors where personnel matters were discussed.
Thank you. Number 6 is our consent agenda. I'm going to move to approve the consent agenda as presented for the following: minutes of the September 25th, 2023 board meeting, payment of bills for October 9th, 2023, escrow release number 2 for the Higher Rock Residential Development.
Second.
Any public comment?
The 26th, the meeting of the 26th.
26, sorry. No public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We have some presentations of donations tonight. We're going to be presenting a check in the amount of $10,000 to the Montgomery County Public Library. Karen D'Angelo, Executive Director and District Administrator, is here to accept the check on behalf of the organization. Karen, you want to come up?
Karen D'Angelo, Montgomery County North Public Library. Our book mill comes every Friday to the rec center, and is going to be there on Saturday.
Great.
I've left some literature for you on our books by mail program, on how to get on Libby to borrow books. One of the really great things about having something like the bookmobile is that the people selecting the materials actually know the community that they're coming to. And I'd like to know that the bookmobile has a much larger borrowing of cookbooks and craft books than the regular, so they know to buy more of those. And that's something that really means a lot to us, that we can do that.
Well, thank you for everything that you do for our community. I'm going to bring this out.
Does she have a book dress? Go check it out.
Okay.
It is.
I was like, check out that book dress. I think there's a book dress on. Oh, I love it. All right. Oh, let's do a quick photo. We got to get that dress.
Baja USA. So cute. And they have all sorts of different science stuff or that stuff. You're into that.
I love it. It's so cute.
Thank you.
It's adorable. We like James' sweater too.
All right, now we have, the board's going to be presenting a check in the amount of $10,000 to the North Wales Area Library. Jane Blackledge, Director, is here to accept the check on behalf of that organization. And again, thank you for coming out.
Well, thank you for having us each year. It's really a pleasure. And it's a great evening for me to be able to crow about the North Wales Area Library. Last Tuesday at the Pennsylvania Library Association Conference, where all of the libraries in Pennsylvania gather, we were selected as the library that had the best adult program of the year of 2023. So it was the Human Library, and it was really a surprise, a great shocking surprise to win that award and just see that what we're doing makes a difference, not only in our local community, but I was able to talk about it there and spread the word. And hopefully other libraries will continue to do those kind of diverse programs that are so important in our communities. And I just wanted to mention again that I ran the figures this week, and 23% of the members of our library live in Montgomery Township. So it's the second largest area, of our residency. North Wales comes in third now. So just saying, it is a small community, but so that's kind of an interesting thing. And then just to keep you aware of what's happening at the library, Elvis is going to be at the library. The last Friday of this month, we have an Elvis impersonator coming who's really good. It's a little fundraiser for us. We have a book sale this coming weekend, which is a fundraiser. We will also be here at your Montgomery Township Day on Saturday. And in November, on November the 18th, we have a holiday marketplace from 10 to 3, and they will be selling all kinds of handmade, not only handmade goods, but food as well. So, keep that in mind. We have 2 vendor spots left, so we do have a little bit of wiggle room there, but it's almost filled. So if you know anyone that likes to do that kind of program, this is a great opportunity. I did bring along the plaque from the state. I mean, when you're so proud, what can you do? Throughout the state as one of those special libraries. We also did achieve Gold Star status again this year. So that's a wonderful thing as part of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So
Congratulations.
thank you for your support. It's going to a good cause.
Thank you for
It sure
everything you
is.
do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank
Very
you, Jane.
welcome.
Number 8, municipal contribution to support EMS services. Carolyn McCreary.
Thank you. Good evening. As you know, the township is currently underway with our budget preparations for 2024 with a work session scheduled with the board at the end of the month. As part of that, I wanted to talk to you tonight briefly about our level of contribution to VMSC. Chief Shane Wheeler has been in here several times over the last year to talk to you about the initiatives that they're doing, their staffing, and we are currently giving them $100,000 a year. Last year, the board said that was a good starting point and they would look at it again this year. So I didn't want to just make any assumptions and I wanted to speak to you before we start putting numbers together. So that 100,000 at that time, it was board consensus that that would just be a donation from the township. You opted not to select any millage at that point. At that time, we had raised taxes the year before to cover certain things like debt service, our fire services, our community and recreation center. What I'm looking for tonight is just direction from the board as to the level of funding for 2024. Obviously, you also have the choice, and I needed to present this to you, of putting real estate tax millage in place or reallocating our current millage, which Brian has indicated for 100,000 would be about 0.05 mils. So we would take that 0.05 mils from the general fund, set up a fund for EMS, and it would go in there. Now, obviously, that's something then every year that would be part of the budget. But if you wanted the flexibility, you could keep it at just a board discretion every year as far as level of funding. And I included in the packet the Montgomery Township calls, which I got directly from VMSC from January of last year through September of this year, as well as an article that was in the Reporter. Chief Wheeler and some of his other support staff have gone to the municipalities in the North Penn region to make a case for funding. And I have not seen any numbers, but I know it was well received because the fact that they're called the Volunteer Medical Service Corps, I think, is a misnomer because people just assume they're volunteers and there aren't volunteer paramedics. These are professionals who go to school and continue on in their training. And in the 90 years that they've been as an organization, they've yet to come forward and ask for the support from the local governments of the communities that they're serving. However, their costs are going up, insurance reimbursements and Medicare reimbursements are going down. I know I didn't know this till I went on the VMSC board. If they are called out on a 911 and it does not result in a transport, they do not get paid. So they have had calls where people called because they couldn't read their COVID tests. They have had calls for things that people who just don't want to go to their own doctor, so they call 911. They've had fall calls, obviously, where someone can't get up and they assist them, but they make sure there's no injury. And then the person also has the option of refusing any further treatment and they do not get reimbursed for those. So they have really, they've done a lot of good things since Chief Wheeler came on, especially in terms of staffing. They have an in-house program now that they've partnered with Jefferson to take EMTs. There are 13 in the class right now who are trained to become paramedics. So I equate it to having a farm system and a baseball team. Instead of worrying about where they're going to come from and pilfering them from another organization, which is just really moving the chess pieces around, they're actually growing the organization organically. So I wanted to speak to you tonight to see what your position was, if you wanted us to include 100,000, if you wanted to change it, just so that Brian and I know what to do as we keep moving forward with the budget.
Do we know what their total budget
for a year is?
No, but I know their payroll piece is 5.5 million.
I think it would be appropriate to parse out the millage in that fashion so that, it really takes that variability out of the equation. It doesn't make it a political decision on a year in, year basis. It's something that is more automated because we're required to provide this service. So this is, it's funding the service seems to be in our best interest.
I hear that, but I also, Carolyn, their performance has been much improved. We had a very long time where it was not. So I don't know that I'm so quick to put it down forever that they're going to get that millage. I'd rather maybe just leave it another year or two as a donation so we can really see that it is indeed going to continue to be as great as it has. My own personal viewpoint.
And that's fine because it wasn't that long ago that we were looking at other options because we had concerns about the response time, the turnover in staff and things, and it has turned around. Even if you put millage in place, that millage can always be changed, but you're right, like to change it or to say we're not doing it doesn't look well. Whereas if it's a discretion on your part, nothing you do can tie the hand of a future board, even if you put millage in place, even if you introduce brand new millage, it doesn't tie the hand of a future board. They can always reverse course. So if you're comfortable doing that for this year, we can certainly do that and talk again, have him come in, and give you another update next year and see where things are. And if you're comfortable with that, I just need some consensus from the majority because this is a, significant decision and I want to make sure we put it in correctly for the budget.
What do you think?
I'm with Candace as well. I know Chief Wheeler has really done an excellent job bringing things completely around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think let's make sure that this stays on track as well. The 100,000 donation, I think, makes sense for this year again.
Ladies down at the end?
I'm on the same page.
I'm on the same page. I looks as if Talminson gave $30,000 to North Wales 22. So I think 100,000 is really generous. So I'm not feeling like we're shortchanging them at all in any way. And I think that reflects our appreciation for what they're doing. And the improvements are tremendous. So,
and I'm hopeful that some of our larger communities in North Penn will see us taking the lead in this and will also account for that in the same level in their budget. I won't name them by names, but they know who they are.
It's like, yes,
you're welcome. Yes.
Well, if we average out the percentages, we're at 16.8% of the calls come from Montgomery Township. So
Right.
like,
So we're
it's not like we're 50 something, but
Right.
still like everybody let's pitch in.
Everyone
This
needs
is-
to pitch in. This
Health,
is
safety and welfare of our residents is priority.
priority number
right.
one.
It's our priority. It's our obligation,
Mhm.
and which is, my point. If you parse out a millage and it makes it more of a standardized practice on, on a recurring. I know it doesn't tie the hands of a future board or anything, but I still believe that standardizing the amount with a millage is appropriate, and it's a reassurance then to the VMSC that they have this regular funding that they're going to be receiving from the township. And from a fundraising standpoint, I think it would relieve a lot of burden to know that we believed in them. We've seen the improvements. I mean, that's why we gave them $100,000 last year. We've seen it, and there's been no indication that there's going to be any change. So that's my 2 cents. I understand that you guys don't feel the same way.
Let's give them the 100,000 and revisit it again next year.
I also think that dollar amount is maybe more of an incentive to the other communities to say, this is what we're looking for.
Yeah, one can only hope.
That's what I'm like.
Okay.
Goals.
Thanks, Carolyn. Number 9, ratification of real estate tax appeal settlement for 125 Witchwood Drive. Brian Shapiro.
Yes, the taxpayer Target Corp filed an appeal for property tax related to 125 Witchwood Drive for the 2023 tax year. The Board of Assessment Appeals issued a notice of no change in assessment in October of 2023. Taxpayer filed an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. The North Penn School District negotiated a settlement with the taxpayer, resulting in a decrease of assessed value to $1,058,500 for 2023. The assessed value, or a decrease of that amount. For 2023, the assessed value will become $5.7 million. Based on the proposed settlement, the township will need to issue a refund of $2,635.67 for tax year 2023. It is the recommendation. The solicitor's office has reviewed the proposed settlement and recommends the Board of Supervisors approve the settlement.
Anybody have any questions or issues with it? I don't think we can do anything. I'm going to move to approve the stipulated settlement for 125 Witchwood Drive and authorize the township solicitor to execute the document on behalf of the township.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Bill Wegman, Fire Prevention Week.
Thank you.
Is this your favorite time of year?
It's the greatest time ever. It's better than Christmas. Since 1922, the NFPA has been recognizing Fire Prevention Week. In 1925, President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed Fire Prevention Week a national observance, making it the longest running public health observance in our country. This year's theme for Fire Prevention Week is Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. The Department of Fire Services and the FDMT will be engaging in various fire prevention activities throughout the month to bring the message of fire safety to our community. These events include the Township's Autumn Festival, school presentations, fire inspections, business staff training, and other activities. It is a recommendation of staff that the Board of Supervisors recognize 2023 Fire Prevention Week.
Great. We will do that, and thank you for everything you're doing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm going to move to recognize Fire Prevention Week from October 8th to October 14th, 2023.
Second.
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, does anyone have a score update?
Still 3-0.
Okey doke. Next thing we have Greg Reef purchasing of salt through the Montgomery County Consortium. Always an exciting thing that we have to do every year.
Don't we have it left over from last year?
Yes, we do. We're fully stocked.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. The township has participated in the Montgomery County Consortium Cooperative Rock Salt Contract administered by the Borough of Hatfield. The consortium recently completed the bidding process for the purchase of bulk rock salt for the 2023-24 winter season and has awarded the contract to Morton Salt Company at a price of $64.84 per ton delivered. The cost is included in the highway aid budget for both 23 and 24, as this is an approved purchase using state liquid fuels funds. It's our recommendation that the board authorize the township's participation in the Montgomery County Consortium Cooperative Rock Salt Contract for the purchase of bulk rock salt from Morton Salt Incorporated at a price of $64.84 per ton delivered.
How nice that it's Morton, huh?
Mhm.
All right.
How many tons do we typically use in a regular year?
That's kind of up in the air a little bit. It depends. It
What's a
depends
regular
on the
year
year.
anymore?
Yeah.
So it's
So we have
there's not
leftover
a,
from last
we are
year. We're
fully stocked.
So we don't need to buy any, or?
Not right away. No, we will definitely need if we if
What's an El Nino? It's an El
it would
Nino year.
we would
too,
be
so.
close. We would need a little bit if we had a year like we had last year. So
Is there any minimum required purchase? on
not
this?
through the consortium. There is if you go through Co-Stars. Co-Stars, you have to satisfy the minimum.
Excellent choice then.
Yep.
I'm going to move to approve the township's participation in the Montgomery County Consortium Cooperative Rock Salt Contract awarded to Morton Salt Incorporated for the purchase of bulk rock salt at a price of $64.84 per ton delivered.
Second.
Public comment? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, we've got another one with Greg. The award for the contract for basketball court improvements at Fellowship Park. So glad that park's moving along.
Yes. So the township received an open bid utilizing pen bids on September 27th of 2023 at the township building. Gilmore and Associates, the township engineer, reviewed the three bids ranging from $109,819 to $144,714.50 and is recommending to award the bid to Top Court LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $109,819. The recommendation letter and bid tabulation sheets are included in your packet. The board authorized the advertisement of the bid at the public meeting on August 28th of 2023. A total of $87,000 was included in the 23 capital investment plan for basketball court improvements at Fellowship Park. So it would be our recommendation to award the bid as recommended to Top Court LLC.
When are they gonna start? Or when would they start?
That's to be determined. It will be this year. We're hoping towards the end of the month.
Okay.
Beginning in November. Depending on how weather goes, they can pave well into November, December timeframe.
Great. Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna move to award the contract for the basketball court improvements at Fellowship Park to Top Court LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $109,819 per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates Township Engineer.
Second.
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Mary Ann McConnell, we have a review of zoning hearing board applications.
Included in your packet is a summary of the two applications that have been submitted for the zoning hearing board November 1st meeting. The board may remain neutral on these applications and let the zoning hearing board render a decision based on the testimony presented, or the board may send the solicitor office to oppose an application. That action would require a motion, second, and vote of the board. The first application is ESW America 200 Progress Drive. They currently operate an engine and vehicle emissions testing facility within their one-story building. They propose to install an above-ground diesel fuel tank within their side property. They have amended the application. It's actually an 8,165 gallon tank, full capacity. The code allows it by special exception, anything over 155 gallons, as long as they can provide suitable and substantial fire and explosive protective means in accordance with the Underwriter Laboratories Incorporated requirements. Yeah.
That seems like a huge variance from 7,000 now, although now you're saying their specs say 8,000, over 8,000.
The information they submitted along with it shows an 8,165 gallon at full capacity.
Do we have any other tanks like that in the township?
Not that I'm aware of.
And how do our fire and police feel about this? I'm just curious.
Should we worry about it?
I think we requested to know more about the fire protection features that they have in place, and I didn't hear anything back. Also, the amount that's being stored for hazardous material. I saw on their spec sheet that it only has like a 200 gallon containment area, but if it's an 8,100 gallon tank, they do have an alarm system for if it does start to leak, but I just don't have enough information to make. I mean, it's diesel, so it's a lower ignition source. It means you need more heat to really cause it to start a fire. That being said, I think the above ground tank in that area, if there was a leak, I think that would probably cause more of a significant issue, especially since that Park Creek runs back there. So I definitely need some more information.
Can we slow this down and ask for more information?
They initially submitted no information.
Right.
And I did request, I made
Making
copies
me
of what
feel
they did
perfectly
provide,
comfortable that they're not
which is
answering
what I
us.
passed on to bill. It's basic information.
Right, but I don't think that talked at all about fire extinguisher or extinguishment agents or protection features. It just said that it was made in UL specs and that there was a 200-gallon containment and a spill alarm. I'd also be concerned about staff. What's their training regimen going to be? Are they treating it like a gas station?
This makes me afraid.
And the containment unit below, in the event of a spill, for an 8,100 gallon tank is only 200 gallons. That seems completely
Even with an alarm,
insufficient.
like even just knowing it's happening, it doesn't make me feel good.
I think that's what they're saying, is that the alarm will go off and then we'll come and mitigate it. And if there's any spillage, we'll be able, that's my assumption. Again, we asked for more information and they sent that 1-page fact sheet. And
Now, keep in mind, we are required to hear the application within 45 days of
Right, but
submission.
the hearing's scheduled for November 1st, so we could, the board, if they chose, could authorize the solicitor to go
I think
And-
that's what we should do.
pending sufficient information that comes in to the satisfaction of fire chief.
I think we all feel uncomfortable with it and with the amount of information we don't have. So
And what training do their employees have to, if the alarm does go off and if the guy who got trained isn't there, does everybody else know what to do? And
right, so they should have some type of emergency response plan, and then they'll be required by the county to report the amount of fuel that they have there. So they'll probably fall under the county and the DEP's hazardous materials regulations. Just we haven't, all I got was that 1-page spec sheet, even though we asked for more information. So I mean, we'd be happy to
Well,
sit down and talk with them.
in our, right? I mean,
Correct.
basically,
what is the purpose of this? So that their trucks don't have to go to the gas station?
That's my first question. I have no idea what I'm sure it's so they don't have to go to the gas station, but then they should have to fall under what gas stations have regulations.
I think
cheaper price on gas if they're keeping that
prohibited,
much on
right?
their own.
it makes me uncomfortable. So I don't know. I might be talking like an old lady, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. I would
There's no description as to the proposed use, other than that the proposed tank is for the existing business of an engine and vehicle emissions testing facility. That's the only description he gave for the proposed use.
Well, I would be inclined to send the solicitor to say we're not interested.
How close is the adjacent property? Like right there?
I
So
believe
that they've got to be concerned as well.
We have to take care of
they
all
would be
of our
notified
bits.
of the application, and the property would be posted before the hearing.
Yeah. Send the
Let's
solicitor.
send the solicitor and,
Yeah.
and we're not in favor of this.
Not really.
agreed.
Okay. And then I think everyone is probably okay with the next one.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Before we leave this one, Mary Ann, can you make sure that John has their attorney's information so he can, as a
Yes.
courtesy, make sure he knows that we're sending the solicitor?
okay, and I think we're okay with Mitzvah Circle. We'll let the zoning hearing board do their thing on that one.
Coming into Montgomery Township, that's a nice thing.
That's
a great thing.
exciting.
So exciting.
Okay, what's the score? 3-0 still?
Yep.
All right.
Skip something. I thought I saw something for WB Homes in here.
Hmm,
6C.
On the agenda.
I think we gave them
That was the consent.
Oh, that
an
was
escrow
it. Okay.
release.
Yeah, that was escrow release. That was
Gotcha.
part of that.
Yeah. I think
A bundle.
we can adjourn if
it's done.
there's no other questions.
So moved.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody go home, watch the Phillies.
Go Phillies.
Go Phils.
Do it.
So did you?
I wanted to tell you about the North Wales Area Library does the book
Have them amend the application.
like that. It's awesome. And they even did a sort of field trip where they went to
It is a special.
Harvest and the chef did